Once I put you on a speakerphone, let's try. See if it works. Good.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Okay. So thanks for calling me. Go ahead and say your name, and then I'll start by asking you a few questions.
Okay. Keandra Press.
Okay. Thank you, Keandra, for participating in the research. At any time you don't feel comfortable with any of the questions, you don't have to answer it, and you can terminate the call at any time if you wish, if you feel comfortable at any time. So the first set of questions is about STEM identity. How do you feel about STEM, which stands for Science, Engineering, Technology, and Mathematics? And is there anything that you find particularly interesting about science?
Personally, I find it interesting how they're always developing and discovering new things every day. As, for example, say certain cures, or when they discover new creatures in the world.
Okay. Do you tend to find scientific causes to explain why certain things happen?
Yes, to me, scientific causes make sense. It breaks down in detail why this happened, and it's the basic cause and effect for me.
Okay. What role does science play in your life?
I wouldn't say too big of a role. Things I look at scientifically as, say, if I am cooking in the kitchen, just the cause and effect of fire to water or boiling water, or the chemical reaction that would change when cooking something. That's the only thing.
Okay. Do you feel your interest in science has changed over time, and in what way?
I think over time it's just me being more aware and more curious of the scientific things that are happening around me as I get older.
Okay. Has it changed since you joined the Anza College?
No.
Okay. Do you think race or culture had an influence on your career choices?
No.
Okay. So the next set of questions is about self-efficacy. Do you feel you have the aptitude to complete a STEM major as well as others?
Personally, no.
What makes you feel this way?
I'm not as interested in STEM majors as other people might be. And for me, just having the patience to learn certain steps would be hard for me.
Okay. Have you ever felt pressured to prove that you are a STEM material?
No.
Okay. How would you describe your level of comfort with asking questions when you are faced with a problem that you do not know or understand?
I feel pretty comfortable when I'm letting someone know I don't understand and ask them to please explain it again. So.
Okay. Do you feel you need assurance that you could do well in STEM or science courses?
Yes, I would.
And why you feel this way?
Just to make sure that I did something correct, so I'd like a second opinion if I would need to change something.
Okay. Do you believe gender had any influence on your career choices?
No.
Okay. How have your peers viewed your science skills, and how important was that to you, or is that to you?
It's not very important at all, and I don't think my peers have noticed, or we usually don't talk about it as much.
Okay. The next question, how do you describe your study skills?
My study skills, I guess I would describe them as fairly good. I try to balance out my time when I'm focusing or studying on something, so that way I have time to do other chores.
Okay. So let's talk about your high school experience and teaching pedagogies at high school.
Okay.
Can you share with me your pre-college STEM or science experience and what makes you feel the way you describe it to me?
Let's see, that would be the last biology class, human biology that I had. And for me, that was a bit of a hard class, trying to remember all the body parts or things of the nervous system and just remembering each and every function. So I think for me it's a bit harder to get through that class.
Okay. Have you participated in any after-school STEM or science activities?
No.
No. Do you feel your pre-college teachers have had an impact on how you feel about STEM or science? Please share their influences, both positive and negative.
Yes, I feel that they have. One reason would be because they were very strict and yet passionate in their area of STEM. And sometimes the passion didn't connect with mine, so it was a lot harder for me to understand their point of view.
Okay. Was there someone in particular that you went to when you needed help with your STEM homework, and was that person helpful?
Yes, it would be the tutors provided or another student in that class. And they would be very helpful in explaining things to help me, like to repeat what the teacher said, but maybe in more terms I would understand.
Okay. All right. Have you encountered anyone who tried to discourage you from taking math or science courses, or experienced any sort of social stereotype about studying STEM prior to the end of college?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. As a person of color, were there any peer influences that you feel impacted your STEM ability or science ability either positively or negatively?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
So being a person of color and my family's background, we haven't been too big in STEM type work. So I guess that had some effect looking back through generations, that maybe it's just our family, but we were never really strong in those areas.
Okay. If you were to change the way STEM or science is taught pre-college, what changes would you make and why?
I think if I were to make some changes to STEM is people who are still in high school, maybe giving them more time to understand and expand their learning about it before they're thrown into college. Because at college you don't have a start. They expect you to know all these things. And some people may not understand quite as much as the other person, depending on what high school they went to.
If those changes were in place, would your STEM or science ability and aptitude be different? And if so, in what ways?
I believe it would be different if I had more background knowledge of it before starting college. It would make me feel more positive in certain classes and a better understanding of what I was doing.
Okay. Do you feel that your pre-college teachers enjoyed teaching science courses, and what impact does this have on you?
Yes, I feel they did enjoy it, and since they were very passionate about it. It was nice being in a class where they were passionate about the subject, but also the impact was I didn't fully understand some of the things that they were talking about.
Okay. Have the teaching method used played a role in your career choices, and in what way?
I would say slightly it has, yes. For my career choices, because it's more involved with customer service and dealing with people. Instead of with STEM, from what I've noticed, it's more you work by yourself and research on one thing, and I need to be in a social setting.
And what was the role of high school and that choice?
Just from some of the science labs that we would have, we would mostly be working by ourselves or with a partner.
Okay. What impact, if any, do you think the high school neighborhood impacted you and your career choices?
I would say from my high school neighborhood, it didn't seem there were too many people interested in STEM, at least the people who I hung out with. So we were more involved in social arts. So.
And is that a culture thing or just happened to be that school?
I think just for that school, that community.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about parents, peers, role model, and mentor influences. Do you think family financial status impacted your education and career choices in any way?
Yes.
Can you just a little bit elaborate on that?
Yes. So growing up, I didn't have much of a college savings, so I had to work first to save up before I had to enroll in college or apply for FAFSA.
Okay. Would you say that your family had an influence on your career choices?
Yes, I'd say this because my grandfather, he worked as a chef and owned a restaurant, and I would like to do that. I like being involved with business and being social as my grandfather or my grandparents were.
Okay. Were you ever motivated by your family to do well in science or in STEM?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. Are you a first generation college student?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Are you a first generation college student in your family?
No.
Okay. Would you say that your peers had an influence on your college career choices?
No.
Okay. Have you had a role model, and has this person influenced your STEM views?
Yes.
In what ways has this person influenced you?
He has helped me, if I have a hard question, he has helped me to understand it more and to look at it from a different viewpoint to where I mentally understand it, and if I see the same question, I already know what to do.
Was that person a family member or a school teacher?
A friend.
Friend, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever worked with a career mentor?
No.
No, okay. Okay, so we ask a little bit, few more questions on MPS program. How did you join the MPS program? Was it a result of assessment, counselor, accidentally heard about it?
It was the result of from my professors telling me about it and me coming to myself and saying I need more help with certain classes, so I decided to go.
Have you heard about the program prior to that?
Yes, I have.
Okay. How do you feel about the way the MPS program is structured?
I like how it's structured. It's very organized and it works well with my schedule when I need to be there or if I need help.
Did it help you strengthening your math skills?
Yes, I feel it has.
Does having a counselor in the classroom help, and in what ways?
Well, I don't have a counselor in the classroom, but I meet with him twice a week outside of class.
Okay.
So he helps me, like, so if we go over one subject, helps me prepare for the next thing my teacher will go over. So that way I have a better understanding when the teacher does talk about it, since he gives me some background knowledge.
Okay. Are the extended class hours beneficial?
Yes, they are for me. It helps me keep my mindset as to I need to do this right now and focus on other things later. So that way later in the day I'm not feeling overwhelmed when I need to look at my homework.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the MPS faculty. Are the MPS faculty sensitive to the needs of all students?
Yes, to me I feel they try to meet all the needs.
Okay. Is it easy to find an MPS faculty when you need help?
Yes.
Have you ever felt ignored or excluded in the MPS program in any way?
No.
Okay. Do you think students in the MPS program are treated the same regardless of ethnicity, socioeconomic status, or sexual orientation?
No.
What do you say?
I said no. Did you say, do I think that they feel discouraged for
No,
different
no.
backgrounds?
Do you think students in the MPS program are treated the same regardless of ethnicity, socioeconomic status, or sexual orientation?
Yes, I feel they're all treated equally.
Was there anyone in the MPS program that you could identify as a role model?
No, not at the moment. All those staff that work there, they're all very helpful and attentive to their own students.
Okay.
I can't pick out one person.
Okay. Well, what are the student services that you think helped you the most in the MPS program or any science courses in general? That include the Math Tutorial Center, online tutoring, academic advisors, counselors, etc.
I would say the counselors and then just the one-on-one tutoring. The counselors, it just feels very personalized and gets me on the right track to what classes I need to take.
Okay. Have you been a member or are you a member of any learning community on campus?
No.
Okay. We're doing very good with time. Have you taken any study skills courses?
No.
Okay. Have you already chosen a major?
Yes.
And what that major is?
Business transfer or business.
Okay, business. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So since you decided not to major in science, I want to ask you some questions. What was behind your decision not to major in STEM?
Well, for me, I already had my career plan set out, at least in my mind. I was going to the customer service and culinary arts and business program.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked into those, I realized I don't need a huge background on STEM. So I decided just doing the basics would help me get by.
Okay. Were finances a part of that decision in any way?
Yes, not a huge role. It just helped me manage at least how much I can afford to do right now.
Okay. Do you think math phobia was a major part of your decision?
I'd say it was slightly a bit.
Okay. If you are a first generation college student, and I think you said you are not, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Have family obligation played a role in your choice not to major in STEM?
No.
Okay. Have the campus student services played a factor in your decision not to major in STEM?
No.
Okay. I think you answered it, but I'll ask this question anyway. Were you a member of any learning communities on campus?
No.
Okay. Do you think you have good study skills?
Yes.
And what makes you, think you do have a good study skill?
I think I do because I've tried to change in how I would use my time to study. A bit more like time management wise, and after doing that, I feel more confident when I study, and I'm more focused than as I was in the past.
Okay. Have you or do you socialize with your classmates from your science courses after class or out of college?
No.
Okay. What strategies have you used to stay focused while taking classes, taking your MPS classes or any science classes in general?
I guess I try to listen to the teacher before I would try to listen and write at the same time. but then I realized I wouldn't be taking in as much. So I just having a better understanding of listening and then write down what I remember later and what I don't recall, I would go through the book. So it helps me focus more on the teacher.
Okay. Were you a member of any science club?
No.
Okay. So I have a few more closing question to ask you. What university are you planning to transfer to if you haven't already?
San Jose University.
And when will you be transferring?
Hopefully by 2018, the fall.
Fall 2018, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that. What advice would you give to an African American male or female who wants to pursue a STEM major?
I would let them know that they can do it if they focus on it and put their mind to it, and not to be discouraged by what people might say, and just have them to remember what their goals are and not pleasing goals of other people.
Those are very good points. What recommendation would you offer De Anza College to help increase the African American participation in STEM or STEM related programs?
I guess by maybe having African Americans who are in the STEM program, maybe like coming to the classes or at least to a fair and showing what they can do, and they can do the same thing. So I guess to having a role model to talk with them and help them feel more comfortable.
Okay. That's an excellent point, actually. Is there any questions that you think I should have asked?
No.
Okay.
Good.
Is there anything you want to add?
I think one thing, if I were to add it, I guess back to how to make African Americans feel comfortable, is if they were to do the STEM program, would be having people follow up with them later on through their academic school year, see how well they've been doing and to see if they might have had any improvement.
So like have very close mentoring program where they keep up with them. That's a great point. Because I think we lose a lot of students in general. They come interested and then over time something happen and they change. Okay, those are really great, couple of great points. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much.
So I want to ask you one